Hello, my very good friends. You are tuning in to the 11th episode of the Loud Love Podcast. I'm your host, Vinny Marone, and on today's episode, I've got an incredible punk band from New York, the Lousekateers, joining me for a conversation about all kinds of fun stuff. I first saw the Lousekateers at Bar 13 in Delaware about a year or so ago, and I was just instantly hooked. Their high energy, their high voltage performance really just captivated me in the crowd. It translates so well to their recordings as well. You can just tell that they put their heart and soul into everything they do. So Ginger Val and Danimal, the singer, guitar player, and drummer of the band respectively, join me on this edition of the podcast, and we talk about all kinds of stuff, ranging from the gamble that you take trying to find a band member or bandmates on what Val called the Tinder of bandom, which is Craigslist. We talked about the band's origins, kind of what drives them, some really great milestone shows that they got to play, for instance, over in the UK. But whether they're traveling abroad across oceans or if they're traveling across the country in a van, the Lousekateers, they do it all. They go everywhere. They're all about just reaching out to new people. They have this mentality of building a community, not just a fan base and not just a listener base, but a community of people and of friends who are like-minded and want to get together and have fun and dedicate their lives to something that they're mutually in love with. And that's what they do. Their brick by brick mentality reminds me a lot of the band Sublime, the band that is the reason why I'm a musician. Brad Noel and Sublime. I got into those guys when I was about 14 or 15 years old, back in the 90s. And I remember listening to and reading interviews of them saying, look, we go into a town, we go into a venue for the first time, and if there's one person in that crowd that comes out a Sublime fan, well, that's one more brick to that foundation of what we're trying to build. And the Lousekateers really remind me of that. Speaking of Sublime, I did want to kind of let folks know that I'm working on something really special with members of Sublime, specifically Jacob Noel, who is, for those of you who don't know the history of Sublime, you probably know their songs. Go and check out songs like Wrong Way, Santeria, What I Got, Doing Time, which is a summertime anthem that's, like 30 years strong. But Brad, the lead singer of Sublime, sadly passed away in the 90s, right before the band really took off and really got to experience a lot of the success that he was aiming for. But before he passed away, he and his wife gave birth to a baby boy named Jacob, and now Jacob is a grown man. And not only is he a grown man, he's an incredible original artist. He's the lead singer and frontman for Jacob's Castle. His songwriting, his singing voice, instrumentation, his guitar playing are just incredible. And yeah, he's got a pedigree, obviously, with his dad being the frontman of one of the most popular bands in the 90s. But Jake, in his own right, is just an incredible artist. And just this past year or two, he took on the reins of his dad's band, and he is now the frontman of Sublime, with original members Eric Wilson and Bud Gall, who play bass and drums. They also have Trey Pangborn, who is the guitar player of Long Beach staple The Falling Idols. Sublime actually covered The Falling Idols' titular song back in the day. It was an instrumental surf rock song, as well as DJ Product, who is a longtime friend of Eric and Sublime. But I bring these guys up because I'm working on an event that's bringing Jake and his crew from Sunburnt Records here in our backyard. As a matter of fact, it's going to be in Bensalem, Pennsylvania. It's right near Parks Casino, where the Sunburnt crew, including Jacob's Castle, will be playing that night. It's on June 13th. But before all that, the official details will be coming out a couple days after this podcast, but it's looking like between the hours of 2 and 5, Jake and a lot of the other members of the Sunburnt and Sublime family will be making their way through Broken Goblet Brewing in Bensalem, which is, about a 10-15 minute drive from Parks Casino. So you can come by for a VIP meet and greet, get some pictures with Jake, get some autographs, listen to some tunes from some live bands that we'll be playing. We're also going to have my good friend Dan Angelo, or DJ Dan Von Doom, spinning some 90s alt classics as well. And who knows, if there's guitars laying around, if there's, microphones abound, if there's a crowd gathered around, maybe a Sublime family jam will happen, and you'll get to sing along to some some old school Sublime tunes. So just keep an ear out for that. Keep an eye out for that. What else has been going on lately that I'd love to talk to you guys about? Oh, I just this past weekend I got to enjoy some time with my good friends and my musical family at the 16th annual Elephants for Autism Indie Music Fest at the Tennessee Ave Beer Hall there in Atlantic City. I got to see some of my favorite bands like Dog Beach. They tore it down this whole weekend, as per usual. Jerry Ryan, who's been championing this movement in the Atlantic City and coastal community for a while, that's now spread out into other parts of New Jersey. It's gone as far as New York State, as far south as Delaware and Maryland, and out in PA as well. Bands from all over come around and support Elephants for Autism, which is just such a great beneficiary for an event like this. And it's always a pleasure and a privilege to be a part of it. I know that Jerry just announced that on August 3rd of this year, so August 3rd of 2025, they're hosting their second annual Kingpin Bowling Tournament for Elephants for Autism. I participated last year. I was on Team Jordan. It was just such an incredible time with my new friend Jordan. We were teamed up together and had such an amazing time bowling last year, getting to enjoy some food, getting to enjoy the company of all of our friends in a different venue, other than a music hall. So if you would like to participate or just stop by or whatever the case may be, go follow Jerry online. You can find him at Jerry Ryan. You can also look up Elephant Talk Indie on social media. But without further ado, here we go. We're about to be introduced to the lousy world of the Lousekateers with Ginger Val and Danimal. We've got the trifecta tonight. I like this.
That's right.
All right, so we've got Val and we've got Dan from the Lousekateers. How you guys doing tonight?
Danimal.
We are doing
The Danimal. Can anything stop the Danimal?
marked safe from Black Friday. That's all I'm saying.
Where did you go today? Did you just kind of traverse
Nowhere.
about?
Absolutely nowhere.
No. Were you like dodging traffic from Black Friday while you were out and about?
Dodging people from Black Friday.
Same.
Period.
My kids and I went, and at 6 a.m. we sat on the concrete at Citizens Bank Park where the Phillies play, and they were having their annual sale, and like you get to go on the field and in the dugout and stuff. It was pretty awesome.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, but it was a long day.
Oh, I bet.
Bet. You're in Philly?
Well, I'm personally right outside of Philly on the Jersey side, so right over the Walt Whitman Bridge. How about you guys? Where do you guys hail from?
You're not that far from us.
Yeah, it's probably about maybe a couple hours at that.
We're in New York.
Are you in like New York State proper? Are you in the city?
About like 45 minutes away, I'd say.
I was living in the city for a long time and I got tired of it and moved. Now I'm in the suburbs.
Now, would you say that where you're at now, is it conducive to local and regional bands, or do you find yourself having to travel out of your neighborhood in order to find gigs?
That's a good question. Westchester music scene really sucks. It's good if you're like in a cover band, maybe like a metal band, but other than that, there's like nothing. It's like pretty much all cover bands. So we started venturing out and we started touring in our first year. And then we discovered like how much cool stuff there is outside of New York. That's like where the real punk communities are. And we rarely actually play in New York, to be honest. We travel more than we play here.
I'm trying to think, even any place we've played, most of the time the cities suck. I don't know. Every time we get to a major city, they actually kind of suck. Offhand, I can't remember us playing at a major city, and it might have just been like a decent show, but most of the time our good shows happen outside of cities.
Yeah. That's where all the good, like little punk rock communities are. And we've traveled like everywhere. We went to England this summer. We've been to Canada. We've been to California and back. And everywhere we go, it's the same story. It's like the cities, you're never going to get the people that you get like in the outskirts of the cities. You get like way more of a community vibe. the four of us in Lousekateers are close because there's not like a lot of people around this area that like do what we're doing.
You have to go out and you
So
have to like seek it out yourself. Yeah, I'm one to I talk a lot of shit on Philly for someone who's from Philly. And I don't know how you feel coming into Philly to play, but I skip over the city a whole lot when I'm planning to come out and play with someone or for someone. And like one of the hotbeds is like York, right? Like more like central Pennsylvania, western Pennsylvania,
Mm,
Delaware. Those are the spots where you find more like-minded people and people who like your music and want to share their stories and share their experiences
Mhm.
and stuff like that.
It's way more of like personal connection. And I actually don't really like playing in cities anymore. When we first started touring, I was like, I want to see all the big cities. And then it was like, after we did that for a few years, the last few years, we kind of got hip to like the fact that that's not where it's at. Go to the smaller places. You're going to find like better people. And those are friends we've made for life, you know. To me, it's like besides playing and writing the music and all the other stuff, the most fun part is the people.
Yes.
Because most people in the world kind of suck. And people at punk shows are great.
yep.
It's like all the genuine fun weirdos of the world. I always say like the punk scene is like what church should be. You know, if church was what it should be, it's the punk scene. It's like the best people I've met are in the punk scene, you know.
100% agree with Val here.
And you meet your assholes sometimes, you know, or egos or whatever, but I would say like more often you don't than you do from my
Definitely.
experience.
I would agree with that. I just saw that you guys you're on the Punksgiving compilation CD, right?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
A lot of cool people are on that too. A lot of cool people.
Yeah, that just goes right to your point. Our church is a different kind of church, right? But
Mhm.
it's what it should be. It's all about the community aspect. It's all about helping one another out. It's all about
Mhm.
kind of sitting around the fire and telling the stories and telling the war stories and the stories on how to, to make it by or to, to get along if you're struggling or something like that. And I know that you mentioned you also travel everywhere. I mean, one of the things that I've noticed when I've seen you play live and in person, or if I watch your videos online, it's like you guys throw yourselves into everything that you do. I mean, the passion spills over from the stage every single time I see you guys. So give me a little bit of an origin story of the band, if you wouldn't mind, just a very brief thing about maybe each of you guys, and tell me how that all started up.
Well, so there's this magical online resource called Craigslist.
Yes, where most of our beautiful
Probably
tales
never heard of
begin.
it before. Tinder for musicians. Um,
That's a great way of putting it. And
totally.
sometimes you still need to use protection either way.
Oh, you should always.
I don't know what that is, but anyways, go on.
Grinder for music. No. I met Dan on Craigslist. At that time, I hadn't played music in a really long time, and that was like such a shitty feeling, like not playing because I we really love what we do, and on stage, that's like where I feel the most comfortable in life. And I wanted to start a band. I had some old songs that I had. So Dan comes to my house, and it was like the most awkward moment of my life. He like doesn't even like say hello to me. Now, mind you, I was living by myself in a little apartment, and getting a guy at my house in Craigslist is not something that you would do on the norm. So I was always like, you know, I'm not afraid of much. I've lived in like every terrible area of New York City, and there's always something in the back of your mind, like you never know what kind of weirdo is going to show up. And I was right. Well, he didn't kill me, but he just like didn't talk to me. He walked past me and started playing the drums, and I'm like, aren't we going to sit and have a conversation? Like it was just very awkward. So we kind of jammed a little bit, and we sat on the couch, and I was like, you know, I really don't want to just play locally. I haven't played music in a long time. If I do it now, I want to just go everywhere and play music. That's like what's always been in my heart to do or whatever. So he was just like, okay. And there was no logical conversation like, how are we going to have the money to do this? Or how are we going to get there? We didn't even have a bass player at that time. We had just met. So then we realized, okay, we need to get a bass player. So a few months later, we had a mutual friend, El Chivo, who's with us for a very long time. He joined the band. He left about a year ago. And at that time, we got Adam Baum, Jerome, who's now recently left to do his solo stuff, and Topo Eddie, who when Eddie came in, he just completely changed the band. Like I think the energy, just like his guitar is so good. Like he's such a good player. I play very basic Ramones chord, 3 chords, you know. So he just like added so much. Like our new music, which sadly isn't all up right now. But what we're working on is different and it's really cool. And he really added to that. And then we recently got Cheeseburger Greg, and it was finally like the perfect match. Like it was like we all, like as people, as players, like everybody just gelled. And I think we've had some of our best shows ever in the last few months. Because of them, you know, because they brought so much.
As an outsider looking in,
Very
I would
different.
say that's a very accurate thing to say. I mean, it's been like you could feel it. You could feel the energy through the screen. I haven't been able to catch you live in a couple months, but I could feel the energy anytime you post anything, and that's important.
I think in music, you have to like always keep evolving and keep growing. You can't just get stuck, you know, and say, oh, you know, this is where I feel comfortable. It's like, no, we've always been open to like trying new things, and we just love to play. But the energy makes a huge difference. It does. We talk every day, the 4 of us. You know, we're very close. I talk to Dan on the phone like every night. Most people don't have that. Most bands we know don't have that. So we're very lucky. You know, you travel with these people. You know, you can get annoyed with somebody if they like fart in the van or something, but like you have to like kind of be able to stomach each other if you're, you know, out of town every other weekend, traveling, staying in hotels, doing all kinds of shit. You have to be able to kind of get along.
That's true. So Dan, I've got a question for you. Since
Sure.
the beginning, obviously, of the relationship, it was very there was like an over under on the amount of words you would say at the beginning, right? What would you say that over under was set at, like 7?
Probably.
All right. So now you guys talk every night. So what has it been like for you to be able to make such a deep connection with somebody to create and to express with, right? I feel like that's always important for me to dive into, is any way you slice it. As a musician, you're an artist. This is the way that you've chosen to express yourself. So how does it feel having somebody so close and to be able to feel yourself around like that with?
Dan hates me.
Secretly, I do 100, and she's 100% right with that. No, I'm all joking aside. I think it's the best thing ever. Like the fact that I can talk to Val like every day. We're always on the same page as far as like, okay, our vision is here's where we want to go. This is what we want to do. And honestly, I think that's the most important thing with a lot of bands. You need to be on that same page. You need to have the same goals. Okay. Because if you have somebody in a band, let's just say you want to go and tour and do all these things, but another guy in the band just wants, or girl, or wants to just like, you know, do this as a hobby or something, it's just never going to work. You're never, the goals are not going to line up, and that's where I feel like a lot of the fighting between bands you'll see happens is because your goals just don't line up, for better or worse. I'm not saying any of them is right or wrong, but I'm blessed because Val and I share that same vision, and it's the same thing with all the members of Lousekateers right now. Same thing with Topo. Same thing with Cheeseburger. The fact that we're all out there, we want to make the best music possible. We want to put the most energetic shows possible. We want to connect with the scene. We want to bring the underground up. Like we're all up there to support other bands, and I feel like that's what music and that's what bands, and that's what it should be about.
I couldn't agree more, and you hit the nail on the head. That's one of the reasons why I'm now bandless.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, you know, you just like you said, you got to have a similar vision, and unfortunately, when the visions don't match up, the band I was most recently playing with, it was I was always kind of like an extra anyway. found myself very fortunate to kind of get to play with some guys and a girl that I've known for a very long time, and we had like a long honeymoon phase, and then I guess, hearing what you guys do, that's what I want to do. I want to be able to play everywhere. I want to be able to reach and talk to and meet as many people as possible. That's what it's all about for me. And sadly, that didn't match up on my end. So, but now I get to do this kind of stuff, which is what I was doing before. And to your point, Val, is like, this is my favorite part of getting to know bands, getting to go to shows. I finally went to my first show in over a year and a half, just as a spectator I think it was like last week. And it felt so good because you don't have to go in and you don't have to like just, say hi for like a quick second to maybe one or two people, do your thing, and then you get lost in the shuffle. I kind of got to experience the whole thing. So how often do you guys get to do something like that? How often do you get to really connect with the bands that you play with, since you play out live so much?
I would say like we connect a lot. Like we keep in touch with a lot of the people we play with, even if we play with them once a year, but we know we're going to be in the Midwest and we know these are our people in Detroit. We'll talk with them throughout the year.
Absolutely.
We have our friends in England that we met from last year. We're going back next year. We keep in touch with a lot of people. I have Typhoid Rosie, who they're awesome. We play with them a lot. I've been to their house. Like I love them. Like they're now good friends, like that I met through the music scene. And there's so many people that I'm so glad that I met because of the punk scene, Justin from the Blanks, like people who we've kept in touch with for years, people who have come out like driven hours to come see us play, or we'll go out to a show to see someone when we're not playing. We play a lot on the weekends, but we try to like go out and see shows too. So I mean, like, I love it. It's great.
I think we've met the best people at our shows. Like, that's just, it kind of goes back to the punk answer that Val gave before at punk shows. I feel like I honestly I agree with like 100% with Val. The punk shows that we've either been to or we've played at, I feel like we've met the best people, the people we've connected with the most. Whether it's like you said, Typhoid Rosie, the Prozacs,
or people like that come to shows like Dawn and the Maryland crew, Sarah and Brian. Like depending on where we're at, there's those little pockets of people that come out to shows that we've seen a million times, over the years. And like, that gets me excited. Like if I know we're going back to an area where it's great people and we know they're going to be there, it's like so exciting.
And those people, I feel like those pockets of people help lift you up. So it's like, obviously the four of you are the ones on the stage. You're giving that energy. You're kind of like the conduit, right, for it. But they're the ones that are kind of on the ground doing a lot of the groundwork. I know that, in my most recent band in Jersey Calling, we had a group of people ourselves that I dubbed Project. Well, I didn't dub the name, but I gathered the group together, and they called themselves Project Mayhem out of, after the Fight Club thing. I felt like we did it together, and I think that that's just as important. The word success is like, it's so subjective, but like the overall quote unquote success of a band, I think has a lot to do with those people that support you. So you're hitting some buzzwords for me as a musician who wants to travel: California, England, and stuff like that. I know you've gone to England and you're going back with New Rock City. That's with Stephen Moss, right?
Steven. Yeah, Steven's great.
Yeah.
That's our homie.
Yeah.
We're part of his street team now. State. That's a little secret we're letting out on your show. Steven, he's a great dude. He's been doing this in England for years. And this year, when we went, we stayed at the DoubleTree with him, and we were like the obvious weirdos of the DoubleTree because it was all like bougie people having weddings and stuff. And Steven had like his mohawk, and
Oh yeah.
I'm like all tattooed with my crazy red hair, and people are just like, what is this? But we wound up staying in this bar and talking until like 2 or 3 in the morning. Like the staff had gone home. We were just hanging out. And I was like, dude, you need to do some stuff in the States to get the word out. Like, jump on some shows with us and, do your thing. There's a show coming up in May that we're going to be working on together. So we're kind of like his American street team. There's a big group chat and everything. So he's got his people in England that help out, and we became friends with those guys, and he's got his people. So yeah, I'm sure he would let you come play, get a band together. Steven's a great dude.
Back when he first started going over to England, I was dabbling and helping him out, whether it was like with art, graphic design stuff, things like that. I don't know if he ever wound up using some of my stuff. I mean, it didn't really matter to me because I just had so much fun, and he's such a genuine and nice person. Like I loved kind of like talking and bouncing those ideas off of him and the people he was working with. So, how did that feel? Was that like your first time international for the two of you, or?
Yeah.
That was the farthest on a plane we've ever probably gone for a show. We've driven a million hours, but yeah, for me, it was a dream come true just to be in England because I've always wanted to go. And so like, I'm forever thankful to Steven for welcoming us. And to me, that was bigger than playing in like Madison Square Garden. That was playing a little punk festival in England was so exciting to me.
Yeah, because we never done it before too, so it was like, like this is crazy. It was a big culture shock.
It was awesome. The people were just like the pockets of good people that you find here. That it was very community. Everybody was super helpful. Steven organized it like with complete finesse. It was very, very fun. It was a really good time. That's why we were like, we'll come back. Sure.
Yeah.
It's expensive, but
yeah, like you said, it's a dream come true. And I feel like getting to do that, getting to kind of like, spread your seed out as far as it'll go. It's almost like part of you as an artist that you want to do. You just kind of want to stand up there and shout at the top of your lungs on any stage that'll have you. And if you can do that across an ocean, that's even better. So what was like the coolest thing that each of you did while you were over in England that you always wanted to do?
We didn't do a whole lot of tourist stuff. We walked the London Bridge. What else did we do, Dan? We live in New York, so it was like London was like an older, glorified New York, and I loved it. But I actually like Chester better, where we played. Chester's more north. So we didn't really do anything that was like some crazy tourist like dream come true. We went to Buckingham Palace. We saw that. That was pretty interesting. I really loved Chester. Chester was a cool town.
Yeah, I agree.
Right? It wasn't like anything spectacular like the London Bridge, but it was like a really cool town.
It felt like a punk town. It was like you had the city. And then you go here, it's like the grit. It felt grittier to me. With Chester felt a lot grittier than London. And I think that's where we kind of fit right in.
Whether it's a city overseas or even in the States, if you can like reach out and touch something, like if something has a topography that you can run your fingers over, and like, the way that they've laid out their streets and the color paints that they choose for their buildings and stuff like that, the way the people talk, where they go to hang out, I feel like all of those little things make the experience, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be Buckingham Palace. Like, that is cool in and of itself, don't get me wrong. But just seeing where John and Jane live in Chester and how they kind of like go throughout their day to day, I find that so much more fascinating than hearing about the king and the queen for the umpteenth time, right?
Yes. I liked the small town better.
The fact that we got to go on stage and rock England, like we went to England and freaking rocked. We went to UK, we rocked the freaking stage. Like, to me, that's just like, just knowing that I did that, I'll never forget that. We flew a plane to the UK. We played a fucking punk show. Excuse my language. We played a punk show. There's nothing better than that.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. And I can't wait to, I follow along obviously in all of your stuff. So I can't wait to keep my eye. I'm going to be seeing you live a bunch. So I'm really looking forward to that. We got about a little less than 10 minutes left, so I've got some fun stuff kind of on the docket that I like to do on this little show, this little talk that we're
stuff.
having. But before we do that, do you have anything that's recently been released or anything that's coming up that you want to plug at the moment where people can find you? And then we're going to have a little fun after that.
So we actually have a new single coming out, and it's a cover of one of our favorite people, with Topo and our newest bass player, Cheeseburger. It's a cover of one of our good friends. His name is Owen Manure, and it's a song called "Happy Guy," and it's a very
got some ska in it.
Has some ska in it, and it's a very, very happy song. It's a way
happy song.
It's a way to end 2024 on a positive, happy.
I like that. I will be sure to share the shit out of that any and everywhere I can.
Thank you. And check out Owen Manure, the original guy. He's awesome. We met him in Massachusetts, and we became like his cult following. He writes these very interesting songs. He's a very interesting guy. Go down a rabbit hole, you won't be disappointed.
All right.
So
but how about your socials and stuff? What are your handles?
I was just about to get to that. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on Spotify, we're on YouTube. Pretty much you type in the Lousekateers on Google, there's a bunch of
find us
sites that you'll find us. We have our own website. We got a new one. We're on Square. Just type in the Lousekateers. Make sure to add the E, because a lot of people forget that E sometimes when they put on the flyers. They'll put like L-O-U-S and then put the rest of the name. Put the E. Remember to put the E.
Yeah. They got to remember L-O-U-S-E. You got, just like the old school.
That's it. Yep.
Like we always get L-O-U-S and then K-A-T-E-E-R-S. A lot of people do that, which, okay, we get it. It happens.
Don't forget the E, people.
Yeah, don't forget the E.
AI calls us the Louseskaters.
The Louseskaters. Okay, you should have.
I'm like,
that should
I
be like
that name.
Well, you've got like your podcast is like the Lousecast, right? And you have like some other Louse themed thing. So maybe you can have a whole group of skaters, the Louseskaters.
The Louseskaters.
Yeah. Louseskaters. I like it.
All right. So this is what I've got. This is my current co-host. It is a bell. It's a bellhop bell from the Hollywood Tower Hotel, because I love that place. It's in Disney World, yes, but it is one of the more macabre places. I would live there if I could. I just love dark and dingy and haunted stuff.
I like that too.
But we do a rapid fire round with my co-host, the Bell here, and we'll be able to work it so that each of you can give an answer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to name something. It's either a word or a phrase, and you're just going to give me the first thing that comes to mind. So it doesn't have to be in depth, or it could be as in depth as you want. But as soon as you're finished your answer, we're going to go right on to the next one. Does that sound good?
Sounds good.
You're about to enter the Twilight Zone.
Sounds good.
The rapid fire round. Here we go. Ornamental stars on the front of people's houses in the suburbs.
Wait, the first thing that comes to my head?
Yes.
I like Halloween better.
Okay.
Lame.
Lame? Yes. For me, it's cult. I think it's a secret cult.
So wait, it can only be one word?
No, it doesn't have to.
Okay.
That's just like the first thing that comes to mind.
that one.
All right, so you guys have traveled, so I feel like you're experts at this. The best 24-hour convenience store.
Oh, Wawa. 100%. That's the best.
Gas station.
Which one?
Any gas station.
Any gas station. Being a Jersey guy, as soon as you said Wawa, I just swelled over with pride. I love it. All right.
Wawa. Sheets is a close second.
Sheets is
good too. But
Wawa. Mwah. Chef's kiss. All right. George Carlin.
Mediocre of funny.
Okay.
Whatever. I don't know.
Whatever. All right.
Yeah.
The Grand Canyon.
Never been.
I would have put I would have put a Lousekateers show at the Grand Canyon.
I was just thinking the same thing. Hopefully it wouldn't cause like an avalanche or anything like that.
That would be the best thing to happen.
Well, as long as you're
put a
not in the
giant-
path, we got to have the.
Dan likes to hang off of lights and do dumb shit like that.
I do.
So
awesome.
I don't know if that'd be a good idea.
All right. Boogie boards or body surfing?
Boogie boards.
Body surfing.
The TV guide.
The 80s.
Who uses that anymore?
I don't think
I used to
anyone-
get my ass kicked with those.
Yeah.
Like whenever I had a bad mouth, I would just get like clocked with the TV guide.
That was one of Mom's favorite
Hell
things
yeah.
to throw. Yep.
Yeah.
TV guides, hangers,
Yep,
shoes.
broom. Yep.
Yes. All that stuff. All right. Cleopatra.
I like her hair.
Another meh for me. It's
All
a
right.
meh.
And the last one. Your favorite school cafeteria snack.
Oh, the rectangle pizza. Def. That was like pure like chemical.
Yep.
I don't know. Mine was chicken nuggets back in the day.
Chicken nuggets.
Yeah.
All right. I had a dude that used to take those rectangle pizzas. He would peel off the cheese, smear on mustard with his thumb,
Ew.
replace the cheese, and eat it. And that was his method. That was his.
God. That's cafeteria
That's a
pizza.
punk rock stuff right there.
Punk rock or trench mouth, one or the other. There's a very blurred line between punk and trench mouth, so I guess
I was gonna say, if you were listening to GG Allen or watching any of this stuff, that seems like just the what is
He would
mustard
just
compared
like
to
wipe the pizza all over him and then crap it
Yeah.
back out and throw it at someone.
right?
But like that pizza was like, how people would always be like, cafeteria food sucks. And he'd be like, yeah, but really you're like, accept the pizza.
Except the pizza.
Like nobody ever
Nice.
wanted to admit how good it was,
Yeah.
but that shit was good.
If I can go back and reclaim anything in my youth in elementary school, it would be the rectangle pizza. You are correct.
So good.
Well, see, I'm so glad that we got to do that because I feel like it just peels back even more layers. Like, obviously, talking about the band is so much fun, but when we get to really dive deep about whether you prefer body surfing or boogie boards, we get to know a different side of Val and Dan, All right, well, Zoom is about to kick me off. So I just wanted to say how much I appreciate that the two of you took the time out to talk to me tonight. I am a true, just legitimate fan / fanatic of your band. And
Thank
now that I
you.
have some time, I will be seeing as many shows as I can just as a spectator, just so now that I can focus just on that. But I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you.
We appreciate
Absolutely.
you. Thank you so much,
Man.
Vinny,
Ditto.
for having us on your show. And thanks for, holiday and everything.
Of
We
course.
appreciate it. And we hope to see you at a show. We'll definitely hang out with you.
Yes.
And there we go, folks. We just wrapped up yet another edition, episode 11 of the Loud Love podcast with my friends in the Lousekateers, Val, Dan. Thank you both so much for taking the time. I appreciate your patience as, I work towards getting this backlog of interviews out for the world to see and hear. The next interview that you're going to hear is with an amazing friend of mine. We've gotten to collaborate on a lot of music together. And just getting to know him over the last, it's been almost 10 years at this point, but I think it was 7 or 8 years ago we started playing music together. Alex Cross, he's just a fascinating dude. He's so super smart. He's incredibly talented. And we talk about music here and there, but he had just these really great stories to tell, especially about his travels. One of his passions is going to national parks all around the country. And we dive into that a little bit and talk about that. And I have some other great guests as well. Like I said, all of those interviews are in the can, and they'll be making their way out to all of you very soon. At some point, I would imagine, hopefully by the beginning of summertime, so June, maybe July, maybe midsummer, I'll want to start reaching out to more folks. If you're interested in coming on and just having a conversation, hit me up. Let me know. We'll make it work. We'll make it happen. So you know the deal. The best way to support is to share the show. Follow me on social media at loudlove.music. Subscribe to the podcast channel, which is my music channel as well on YouTube, the Loud Love music channel. And on there, you'll be able to keep up with all of my latest releases as well, right? For instance, I just put out a prog metal inspired song called The Shadow Hunters with legendary bass player Billy Sheehan of bands like Mr. Big. I played with David Lee Roth. I played in Sons of Apollo, the Winery Dogs. But yeah, The Shadow Hunters came out. You can stream that anywhere you find your music. And don't forget to go and look up the Lousekateers as well. They're available everywhere you stream your music, and you can download their stuff at Bandcamp as well. So thanks again, everyone, and I'll see you on the next one. Later.